The signals echo. Commander Alina Blackwood stood at the observation deck of the HSS Horizon, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she watched the swirling purple nebula ahead. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, every fiber of her being screamed that something was wrong. "Commander," Lieutenant Raj Patel's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. "We're picking up something unusual on the long-range frequencies." "Define unusual, Lieutenant," Alina replied, already moving toward the bridge. The Horizon was Earth's most advanced exploration vessel, designed to push the boundaries of known space and gather data about the countless civilizations that had long regarded humanity as dangerous primitives. The bridge hummed with activity as she entered. Raj's dark eyes were fixed on his console, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "It's a signal unlike anything in our database, but it's definitely artificial. The pattern suggests it's being broadcast on all frequencies, like someone shouting into the void." "Let's hear it," Alina ordered, settling into her command chair. The bridge fell silent as the transmission filled the air, a haunting, crystalline sound that seemed to ripple through space itself. The ship's AI struggled to translate the alien language, but the message's desperate tone needed no interpretation. "Help, please, the Shadowclaw Legion. They're destroying everything. We are peaceful, cannot defend, coordinates attached." First Officer Thomas Rivera exchanged glances with Alina. "The Shadowclaw Legion? Never heard of them." "Neither has Earth intelligence," Alina replied, accessing the ship's database. "But those coordinates point to the Helios sector. We're the closest human vessel." "Commander," Dr. Olivia Wung, the ship's xenobiologist, spoke up from her station. "The signal's harmonic structure. I believe it's from the Luminari. They're an advanced species known for their crystalline technology and peaceful nature. They've always avoided contact with Earth." Alina's jaw tightened. The Luminari, like most advanced species, had classified Earth as a death world, a harsh planet that produced potentially dangerous sentient beings. Now they were asking for help from those very same dangerous beings. "How long to reach their position at maximum speed?" Alina asked. 36 hours, Commander," Navigator James O'Neill responded. "But we're an exploration vessel, if there's really a hostile force attacking the Luminari." Alina raised her hand, silencing the implied concern. "Open a channel to Earth Command, Priority 1. Within moments, Admiral Dante Washington's hologram materialized on the bridge. "Commander Blackwood," the Admiral's deep voice resonated through the bridge. "Your transmission flag suggests an emergency." Alina played the distress signal, watching the Admiral's expression darken as he listened. "The Council will need time to debate this," he began, but Alina cut him off, a breach of protocol she hoped her long service would excuse. "With respect, Admiral, we don't have time for debate. The Horizon is already in position to respond. If we wait, we might lose our chance to prove that humanity is more than what they think we are." A long moment passed as the Admiral studied her. Finally, he nodded. "You'll have backup, Commander. I'm mobilizing the 7th Fleet. They'll be 12 hours behind you. Until then." "Until then, we show them what one ship of Death Worlders can do," Alina finished. The Admiral's hologram flickered out and Alina turned to her crew. "Battle stations. All hands prepare for emergency FTL jump." As the Horizon's engines powered up, Alina returned to the observation deck for one last look at the peaceful stretch of space they were leaving behind. Humanity had spent generations being feared and avoided by the galactic community. Now, finally, they had a chance to show the galaxy that Earth's harsh evolution had produced not just survivors, but protectors. "All systems ready for jump, Commander," Raj reported. Alina took a deep breath, her voice steady as she gave the order that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Take us in." The Horizon leaped into FTL, carrying its crew toward their date with destiny. The Death Worlders were coming not to conquer or destroy, but to protect. And the galaxy was about to learn why Earth's harsh crucible had forged the greatest defenders it would ever know. Battle for New Dawn. The massive war room within Earth's lunar command center buzzed with controlled chaos. as Admiral Victor Ramirez surveyed the holographic display of the Helios sector. Red markers indicated the last known position of the Shadowclaw Legion forces, while a single blue dot showed the HSS Horizon racing toward the conflict zone. "Status of the 7th Fleet," Ramirez demanded, his scarred face illuminated by the tactical displays. Fleet Commander Diana Frost stepped forward, her white uniform crisp despite the 18 hours of continuous preparation. "All 36 ships combat-ready, Admiral. The dreadnought Thunder of Terra leads the formation, with our new Stalker-class stealth cruisers providing reconnaissance support." Ramirez nodded, studying the deployment pattern. When humanity had been labeled as death worlders and essentially quarantined to their solar system, they hadn't remained idle. Every ship in the fleet incorporated lessons learned from Earth's harshest environments: adaptability, redundancy, and overwhelming force when necessary. "Sir," a young lieutenant called out, "priority transmission from the horizon." Commander Blackwood's hologram materialized, her expression grim. "Admiral, we've dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Luminari system. The situation is worse than we anticipated." She gestured, sharing her ship's sensor data. The war room's main display updated, showing a devastating scene. Massive warships of unknown design orbited the Luminari homeworld, their dark hulls absorbing local starlight. Energy weapons lanced down from orbit, systematically destroying cities built from crystalline structures that once caught the light like frozen rainbows. "The Shadowclaw Legion has already established orbital superiority," Blackwood continued. "We're detecting massive ground forces deploying to the surface. The Luminari's defensive capabilities are minimal. They're a peaceful species who evolved on a low-gravity world. They never stood a chance." "What's your status, Commander?" Ramirez asked, already calculating adjustments to their battle plan. "We're maintaining stealth operations using the system's asteroid belt for cover. The Horizon sensors have identified 19 enemy capital ships and numerous support vessels. Their technology is advanced, but—" She paused, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. "Their heat management is inefficient. They're not used to operating in environments as hostile as Earth. It's a weakness we can exploit." Commander Frost spoke up. "The 7th Fleet can arrive in 10 hours at maximum speed. That's a long time for the Horizon to hold position alone." "We're not staying idle," Blackwood responded. "The Luminari transmitted their central database to us before their main communications array was destroyed. We're analyzing their technology, particularly their crystalline power systems. If we can integrate this knowledge with our own capabilities—" "Do what you can, Commander," Ramirez ordered. "But your primary mission is to survive until reinforcements arrive. We're not losing our best exploration vessel on our first day of interstellar combat." As Blackwood's hologram faded, Ramirez turned to his staff. "Update all fleet commanders. The Shadowclaw Legion chose to attack a peaceful species, believing there would be no consequences. They didn't count on humanity's response. Today, we show them why Earth's children are the most dangerous defenders in the galaxy." In the Luminari system, Commander Blackwood and her crew worked feverishly. Dr. Wang's expertise in xenobiology proved invaluable as they decoded the Luminari database, while Lieutenant Patel reconfigured their sensors to better track the enemy's thermal signatures. "Commander," Officer Rivera called out, "I'm detecting increased enemy activity. They're launching fighters' systematic search pattern." "They know we're here," Blackwood realized. "They picked up our FTL signature when we arrived." She studied the tactical display, a plan forming in her mind. "Mr. O'Neill, plot a course through the asteroid belt. Lieutenant Patel, power up our electromagnetic pulse arrays." "Ma'am," Rivera questioned, "those are designed for scientific surveys, not combat." Blackwood smiled grimly. "The Shadowclaw Legion evolved in deep space, developing energy weapons and shields to match. But we come from a world of electromagnetic storms and solar flares. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." The Horizon glided through the asteroid field, its stealth systems straining as enemy fighters drew closer. They had 10 hours to survive, to prove that humanity's first interstellar combat mission wouldn't be their last. Above them, the Shadowclaw Legion's warships continued their bombardment, unaware that their actions had awakened something far more dangerous than the peaceful Luminari, the protective fury of Earth's children. The next 10 hours would determine not just the fate of the Luminari, but humanity's place in a galaxy that was about to learn why evolution on a death world produced the ultimate survivors. Operation Thunderstrike. Colonel Marcus Drake stood in the drop bay of the Thunder of Terra, watching as his Marines performed final checks on their powered armor. The massive dreadnought had just emerged from FTL along with the rest of the 7th Fleet, joining the HSS Horizon in the Luminari system. Through the bay's viewport, he could see the devastation wrought by the Shadowclaw Legion. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" Lieutenant Zara Khatri approached, her own battle armor humming with power. "The Horizon's distraction tactics kept most of their fleet occupied, but they've still done considerable damage to the surface." Drake nodded grimly. The Horizon had spent the last 10 hours conducting hit-and-run attacks using modified electromagnetic pulses, disrupting enemy communications and buying time for the Luminari civilians to reach underground shelters. Now, with the arrival of the 7th Fleet, it was time for humanity to show their true capabilities. "All strike teams, final equipment check," Drake ordered over the command channel. "Remember your training. The Shadowclaw Legion evolved in zero-G environments. They rely on technology to compensate for planetary gravity. We don't." The ship shuddered as Admiral Ramirez's fleet engaged the enemy in orbit. Drake watched the tactical display as humanity's warships executed maneuvers that would have torn apart vessels designed for the gentler conditions of deep space. Earth ships were built to withstand atmospheric re-entry, extreme pressure changes, and the constant brutal embrace of their homeworld's gravity. "Drop countdown initiated," the ship's AI announced. "All ground forces prepare for deployment." Drake sealed his helmet, connecting to the neural interface that would link him with his armor and troops. "Strike Team Alpha, form up. Today we show these deep space warriors what real ground combat looks like." The drop pods launched in waves, streaking through the atmospheric battle like metallic rain. Enemy fighters attempted to intercept them, but the pods' ablative armor, designed to withstand Earth's punishing re-entry conditions, shrugged off their energy weapons. "Impact in 30 seconds, Khatri announced. Enemy ground forces concentrated around the central crystal spire of the Luminari capital. Drake's pod hit the surface with bone-jarring force, its shock absorbers cycling as the armor compensated. Around him, hundreds of other pods landed, deploying Marines in powered armor that had been tested in the crushing depths of Earth's oceans and the brutal heat of its deserts. "Strike teams, deploy and advance," Drake ordered, leading his squad toward the occupied city. The crystalline architecture of the Luminari capital glowed with an inner light, its delicate spires contrasting sharply with the brutal efficiency of the Shadowclaw Legion's war machines. The enemy responded quickly, their hover tanks and mechanized infantry moving to engage the human forces. But something was wrong with their movements. They were sluggish, uncertain. "They're struggling with the gravity," Khatri observed, her helmet sensors analyzing the enemy's movements. "Their equipment's compensating, but the soldiers inside aren't adapted for planetary combat like we are." Drake smiled grimly. "Press the advantage, close quarters combat, full acceleration, show them what Earth gravity training means." The Marines charged, their powered armor's strength amplification systems allowing them to move with devastating speed and power. The Shadowclaw Legion's energy weapons flashed, but the humans had trained for this, their armor incorporating crystalline ablative technology derived from the Luminari database. "Colonel," Commander Blackwood's voice came through the command channel, "we're detecting Luminari life signs in the central spire. The Legion is using it as a command center, keeping hostages to prevent orbital strikes." "Understood, Commander," Drake replied. "Strike Team Alpha will handle the extraction. Lieutenant Khatri, take your squad and show them why Earth's special forces train in vertical combat." Khatri's team split off, using their armor's enhanced strength to scale the crystal walls directly. The Shadowclaw Legion, evolved for space warfare, had never encountered enemies who could fight effectively in 3 dimensions without technological assistance. Enemy reinforcements incoming, the tactical AI warned. For heavy combat walkers, Legion elite troops. Drake watched as the massive machines approached, their weapon systems charging. All teams, implement Operation Gravity well. Let's show them why you don't pick a fight with people who evolved on a heavy world. The Marines executed their plan with precision, using tactics developed for fighting in Earth's most punishing environments. They exploited every advantage their Death World heritage had given them: superior strength, endurance, and adaptability to harsh conditions. The battle for the Luminari capital had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn why humanity's classification as Death Worlders wasn't a limitation. It was a warning. The children of Earth had come not as conquerors, but as defenders, and they brought with them all the strength and resilience their harsh homeworld had forged into their very DNA. The turning point. Dr. Olivia Wong's fingers flew across the holographic interface in the Horizon Science Lab, her eyes darting between streams of data from the Luminari database. Commander Blackwood stood nearby, watching as patterns emerged in the crystalline structure diagrams. "There," Wong exclaimed, highlighting a section of code. "The Luminari weren't just building beautiful cities, their entire crystalline architecture is one massive communication network. It's not just storing data, it's amplifying and transmitting energy on a quantum level." Blackwood leaned closer, her tactical mind already seeing the possibilities. "Can we use it?" "Better," Wong replied. "We can turn their own technology against them, the Shadowclaw Legion's energy weapons. They're leaving trace resonance patterns in the crystal structures, if we can match that frequency." Above the planet, Admiral Ramirez's fleet continued their desperate battle. The human ships had proven more resilient than the Legion expected, their Earth-forged hulls weathering attacks that would have crippled most spaceborne vessels. But they were still outnumbered, and the enemy's superior technology was beginning to tell. "Admiral," Commander Frost's voice crackled through the command channel, "we've lost the Defiant and Striker. The Legion's bringing in reinforcements through their FTL corridor." Ramirez studied the tactical display, watching as more enemy ships emerged from faster-than-light travel. "Hold the line, Commander. We just need to—" "Admiral," Wong's transmission cut through the battle chatter. "We've found something. The Luminari crystals, they're not just buildings, they're a weapon, one the Legion never saw coming." As Wong explained her discovery, a slow smile spread across Ramirez's scarred face. "Commander Blackwood, how quickly can you implement this?" "We'll need to reconfigure our electromagnetic pulse arrays," Blackwood replied. "And Colonel Drake's ground forces will have to secure key amplification nodes in the city. But, sir, if this works—" "Do it," Ramirez ordered. "All fleet vessels adjust formation. Operation Resonance begins now." On the ground, Drake's Marines fought their way through the Crystal City's lower levels. The Shadowclaw Legion fought desperately, but their advantages in space meant little in the close confines of urban combat against soldiers born to a high-gravity world. "Colonel," Lieutenant Kotry's voice was tense with excitement, "we've secured the central spire. The Luminari hostages are safe, but, sir, you need to see this." Drake made his way to Kotry's position, where a group of Luminari elders waited. Their crystalline bodies pulsed with inner light as they communicated through their natural bioluminescence. The ship's translation software struggled to keep up. "Children of the harsh world," the eldest Luminari's words emerged as chiming tones. "We have long feared your kind. We were wrong. The Legion believed our peaceful nature made us weak. They never understood that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the will to protect." "We understand better than you know," Drake replied. "Earth taught us that survival isn't just about being the strongest, it's about adapting, about using everything around you to protect what matters." The Luminari elder's light pulsed brighter. "Then let us show you what our cities can truly do." Above, the horizon's modified pulse arrays hummed to life. The crystalline spires of the Luminari city began to glow, each building adding its resonance to a growing wave of energy. The Legion's energy weapons had unknowingly provided the exact frequency needed to turn the entire city into a massive amplification array. "All ships fall back to minimum safe distance," Ramirez ordered. "Ground forces, activate your electromagnetic shielding. This is going to be one hell of a light show." The Crystal City blazed like a newborn star, channeling the combined energy of thousands of Legion weapon impacts back at their fleet. Ships that had evolved in the gentle void of space found themselves bathed in focused energy equivalent to a solar flare. Shields failed, hulls buckled, and the mighty Legion fleet began to break apart. "Enemy vessels attempting emergency FTL departure," Frost reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from her voice. "Their engines are too damaged from the energy feedback. They're trapped." Ramirez opened a channel to the Legion flagship. "This is Admiral Victor Ramirez of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your ground forces are cut off, your ships are crippled, and you've just learned why challenging a Death World species was a mistake. Shall we discuss terms of surrender?" The galaxy had labeled humanity as dangerous because they evolved on a harsh world. Now, at last, they understood Earth's children were dangerous not because they sought violence, but because they had learned to overcome it. The Shadowclaw Legion had sought to conquer a peaceful species and found themselves facing the ultimate defenders instead, legacy of Earth. 1 month after the Battle of Luminari, Commander Alina Blackwood stood in the grand chamber of the Galactic Conclave. The circular hall was filled with representatives from 100 spacefaring civilizations, many of whom had never allowed humans into their presence before. The crystalline architecture of the chamber reminded her of the Luminari cities, now being rebuilt with Earth's help. Admiral Ramirez stood beside her at the speaker's podium, his dress uniform adorned with the newly created Luminari Crystal of Valor. Behind them, a delegation of Luminari elders glowed with peaceful blue light, their presence a testament to the unprecedented alliance that had formed. "Members of the Conclave," Ramirez began, his voice carrying through the vast chamber, "for generations you have known humanity as the children of a death world. You feared us, isolated us, believed our harsh evolution made us too dangerous to join your community. Today, we stand before you not to challenge that assessment, but to redefine it." The chamber's displays activated, showing footage from the battle. Human ships weathering attacks that would have destroyed vessels built in space. Marines in powered armor fighting with strength born from Earth's gravity. The brilliant flash of the Crystal City's defense system, turning the Legion's own power against them. The Shadowclaw Legion believed that emerging from a gentle environment, focusing purely on technological advancement, made them superior, Ramirez continued. They were wrong. The true measure of a civilization isn't the ease of their evolution, but what they choose to do with the strength they've gained. Dr. Wang stepped forward, presenting the technical analysis of the battle. "The integration of human resilience with Luminari crystal technology has opened new possibilities in defensive systems. Already, our joint research teams are developing innovations that could prevent future conflicts." The eldest Luminari floated to the podium, their voice chiming through the translation system. "We once feared the humans, believing their harsh world had made them violent. Now we understand their world taught them not just how to survive, but how to protect. They are not death worlders, they are life defenders." Commander Blackwood watched as the chamber erupted in discussion. The Shadowclaw Legion's defeat had shattered old assumptions. Species that had once shunned Earth now sought diplomatic relations. The galaxy was changing. Colonel Drake's hologram appeared next, transmitted from the surface of Luminari, where he oversaw the Joint Defense Force training. "The Legion's survivors have revealed their motives. They believed peaceful species were easy targets, that their advanced technology made them invincible. They never expected to face warriors who had evolved to overcome adversity, fighting not for conquest but for protection." The Conclave's High Chancellor rose, silencing the chamber. "For too long, we have allowed fear to blind us to potential allies. The humans have proven that strength born of hardship, tempered by wisdom and compassion, is precisely what our galaxy needs. Therefore, I propose a new designation for Earth. No longer a death world, but a guardian world. home to a species uniquely qualified to defend those who cannot defend themselves. The vote was nearly unanimous. As celebrations erupted across Earth and Luminari, Commander Blackwood returned to the Horizon's bridge. Through the viewport, she could see the joint Earth-Luminari defense fleet taking shape, their ships incorporating the best of both worlds' technologies. "Commander," Lieutenant Patel called out, "we're receiving distress calls from 3 different sectors. Seems word has spread about Earth's new role in the galaxy." Blackwood smiled, remembering that first desperate signal that had started it all. "Plot a course, Lieutenant. The galaxy's beginning to understand when you need someone to stand against impossible odds, to fight not for glory but for what's right. You call the people who mastered the harshest world of all. You call Earth." As the Horizon prepared for its next mission, Blackwood reflected on how far they'd come. Humanity had been forged in Earth's crucible, shaped by gravity, storms, and countless challenges. But they had emerged not as conquerors, but as protectors. The galaxy had feared the strength of Death Worlders. Now they would know the courage of Guardians. The legacy of Earth was no longer one of isolation and fear. It was a promise to any peaceful species facing destruction. Help is coming. The children of Earth are on their way, and this time the galaxy would be better for it.